Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Got another great watch for you today, and this is by Nubeo. So this is a watch I've already reviewed, but in the blue version, and this is their Radar Red Edition. What I love about this watch, not only the cool tonneau-shaped case, it's big, it's bold, there's a lot going on as far as the skeletonized movement, showing off that dual balance wheel, but the color is really unique in this, and it's more of like kind of like a blood red, which is nice because a lot of times red can be a little bit flashy. This is a little bit more of a subtle red, so very clean, very kind of sleek. Absolutely love this watch. This is one of my most favorite watches Nubeo makes, and mainly because of the dual balance wheel. So let's check it out here. I'm going to show you guys the box, talk a little bit about it, and see what you guys think. All right, so if you haven't checked out the other great watches by Nubeo, I'll put the link in the description where you can pick up this watch and any of the other versions that they sell. If you don't like the red, again, it is available in blue. I think they make a green, a black, and all the straps are interchangeable, I believe, with all the Nubeo watches. So really nice to be able to change up the whole look. Red is a little bit limiting. You know, you can run with the, always do what makes you happy. But I think with the red case, I would say, the red works really well, of course. If you want to go with like the white or the black, those are always safe colors. And, kind of the sky's the limit on as far as what you want to go with. The cool thing about, again, a lot of the Nubeo watches is they come with two straps. I think this came with a black. And if you want to later on down the road pick up another Nubeo watch that does have another rubber strap, generally they will fit. I believe they're all the same size, but if you have that question specifically, check with me just in case. If that's like a deal breaker for you to buy it, let me know. I'll get you the answer. I just didn't check before I started making the video. So let's check this bad boy out. Now, also, I am recording on a different device today, and I wanted you guys to let me know in the comment section what you think of the video quality versus my other videos. So this is the first time I'm using an iPhone. Again, even though I've been reviewing products for many, many years, I've kind of always used the same Canon camcorder for a while now, and my coworker was like, hey, check out the cinematic mode. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. So not sure what it's going to turn out like, but do let me know which you prefer. All right, so and let's see how the close-ups look on this as compared with my other stuff. I'm not sure how this is going to focus, but we'll give it a whirl. You can see that dual balance system, or the dual balance wheels, just kind of humming along. I think it's a really great look. For those who are more concerned with the actual function of a watch, like telling the time, of course, you can see the time dial right off to the side there. It is rather small. The main, I think, beauty of this watch is just seeing those dual balance wheels. I like that they put it off to the side, as opposed to more like the, was it the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock position, as opposed to just putting it on top or bottom. A lot of dual balance wheel watches I see, they kind of move the movement where those are on the bottom. I like that it's kind of oblong in this and more towards the vertical. It's a different look. You have the crown at the 6 o'clock position, although one gripe I have with this, that pulling the crown out, it's really difficult. This was not, here we go, I'm actually going to say something negative. This was not a good design for the crown. You really can't get your hands on this. There's really nothing to grab. Common sense would tell you if you're making a crown, you're going to be obviously pulling it out. You don't put any kind of textures in the direction of the pull, right? There's nothing to grip. Like, this is great for turning, but the real challenge here is pulling the crown out. I can't pull this out. So I think what most people are going to do is just kind of get your fingernail underneath the bottom of the crown. Let me see if I can get zoomed in on this. Right underneath this little ledge here and pop that out. For me, I know, I hear it all the time. Ugh. People like, oh, you bite your nails. Like, yes, I bite my nails. It's a terrible habit. I get it. All right, whatever. So for me, I will just use like maybe a little push bar remover, something like that, to pop that crown. But for those who have nails, you'll be able to pop this off. So for me, pain in the ass. But again, not a deal breaker. I don't whine about little things like that. You have a huge exhibition window on the back showing off that movement. We're going to get to that. Nubeo branded straps, of course. You can put whatever you want on this. But look at and for some of you who don't like branding, you are going to get the Nubeo branding. It does have it. It is kind of subtle on the face. It's right at the 12 o'clock position. Real subtle. So you really don't know what this is by looking at it, but you do have some big branding, kind of like Invicta does on the side, and then limited edition, and looks like this is number 301 of 500 on the side. So that's pretty cool. A lot of times when they do limited edition watches, or most companies, they generally give you a card, and then maybe you have it on you usually have it on the case back. I like they put a big plate on the side, which is kind of cool. Again, for those who don't like that, don't buy it. Now, I'm not sure if you were to pull the nameplate off. There are a couple screws here. maybe you can do that, not sure. But, you know, when I'm looking at watches, I either buy the watch because I like all the watch, and if I don't, then I just don't buy it, you know. Some folks are really nitpick watches. It's unbelievable. I was watching a guy on YouTube the other day review, like, one of the Phoebos watches I'm going to pick up here in a couple days. And I'm just like, dude, like, you're really nitpicking like that. You know, I think the indices could have been a different shape. It's like, dude, don't buy it then if you're going to nitpick it like that. But hey, to each your own. There's lots of different watches out there. There really is something for everyone. But I love, again, I getting back to this watch, I really like that the finish on this is 3/16 stainless steel. So checkbox number 1, right, for me, or number 2. But you can kind of see like the brushed finish behind the plate there. Hopefully you can see. Let me get the focus on the watch. Hopefully you can see that. There is sort of that brush texture there, which is really cool. I love this kind of like blood red look. When it comes to red, you know, like I said, like that bright Ferrari style red. I have a couple of the Nubeos that are that color. I really like the blood red on this. It's kind of more of like leaning towards maroon. So beautiful color combination. Love it. And this is definitely one to check out. Again, you can see the exhibition window in the back. It is kind of like a light blue tinted. I think this would have been cool to have maybe a light blood red tint, kind of matching the watch, but they all have basically the same exhibition window on the Viking. Very cool looking watch. My only gripe, you know, you guys know I'm more of a bracelet guy, and a lot of companies, when they make like, you know, kind of plated watch like this, or anodized or colored watches, right? They generally don't make like matching stainless steel straps. So I'm not sure why that is. Invicta does a lot of that, but I think like Invicta is one of the few that do that. You know, just kind of give you an example here. Like here's an all blue version of the Nubeo. I forget which one this is. I'll be reviewing this next. But, you know, you got that blue plated stainless steel. I would have loved to have seen red. I've only seen one watch out there that's totally red. And that's my boy James Perez picked me up the Invicta Pro Diver for Christmas in all red. And it's just a killer look. This would have been awesome with one of those red metal bracelets. That's the only real gripe I have with Nubeo, is that I think they should really make their watches that come with a rubber strap. You know, give the option to have a rubber strap plus a bracelet version. And even if it costs a little more to like make the, you know, do like an anodized, I don't know if I'm using the word anodized correctly, but, you know, stainless steel and some kind of plating. I think all red, all blue, giving people those color combinations would be great. And at a bare minimum, you can rock a black metal strap bracelet on this. It would look awesome. So, but definitely a great looking piece. And if you are a fan of like the Richard Mille watches and that kind of style, that tonneau shaped, I think I'm using that word correctly, but if I'm not, you guys, I know you guys will tell me. You know, I just love that oblong football-like shape. It's nice to get away from some of the round watches. You know, again, I like all watches, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's nice to have a variety in your collection. And let's face it, most watches out there are going to be round. Square watches are harder to find, right? You can find them. Don't come back and be like, oh, I found them. You know, I get it, but I'm just saying most watches are more round, right? All right, so specifications. So you have the automatic skeleton with 2 hands, small second hand. And when I look at this here, I'm trying to see if you probably may not have noticed any other. When I'll show this close up here, you can see a second hand kind of floating around there. You know, a little bit difficult to see black against black. You know, some folks that may bother. For me, you know, mainly with this watch, all I'm really caring about is, can I tell the time, which I can, and what kind of look do I get? And that dual balance wheel is awesome. I really hope that at some point a company does something a little bit outside the box and do something with like a quad balance wheel. It is kind of unnecessary in my opinion, but I think it just adds a really cool look to the watch. I know Jacob and Company did something years ago that was like, I think it's called their Quintar or something like that. And it had, I believe, 4 tourbillons. Very expensive watch, but a lot of people mistake balance wheels with tourbillons. So you see them all over eBay, tourbillon. This is not a tourbillon. This is just a dual balance wheel system, which is really, in all honesty, I'm sure there are, I've seen some with like actual dual mainsprings. I don't know if this actually has that, but you know, nonetheless, it's still a very cool looking piece. All right, as far as case diameter, you have 46 millimeter by 51 millimeter, big, bold, chunky watch. I'd say thickness on this, I'd probably say, they don't have it listed, but I'd say 19-ish millimeters. It is an automatic skeleton movement. As far as the movement, I'm sorry, we don't know what it is. It might be a pearl. I know some guys have commented on the channel already that they use a lot of pearls. I'm not really sure, but if you guys know for sure, of course, if you drop a comment and you're giving your opinions, just again, folks who are watching, take that with a grain of salt. If you do absolutely need to know the movement and that's a deal breaker for you to buy it, by all means, drop me a comment. I'm in contact with my girl like almost every other day, so I can get you that information. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. So I want you guys to get the information you need. As far as case thickness, I just should have shut my mouth and read 16.2 millimeters in that case thickness. You do have 5 ATMs of water resistance on this bad boy. The strap is, they just say rubber. And you guys might wonder, why do you smell them? Isofrane straps smell, they're actually kind of infused with a vanilla scent. So kind of cool, actually. This is not isofrane, it's not silicone, just plain old rubber. Longevity, not sure, rubber does dry out in time. But I feel like with rubber, always a good idea to maybe put some kind of conditioner on there. There's lots of rubber conditioners. I don't know if you want to use Armor All on it. Might be slipping and sliding around. But, you guys get what I'm saying. It is a mineral lens with an anti-reflective coating. Again, when I talk about check boxes, when it comes to watch reviews, everybody's got different check boxes. For me, of course, it's easier for me to be a little more lenient with that checkbox because I am collaborating with these companies. They are sending these watches for free. So naturally, it's a little bit different, but I do appreciate people's concerns. I can assure you that of all the watches I have, whether it be Sapphire, Flame Fusion, K1, Cristerna, just a mineral lens, I've never scratched a watch. I mean, they are very durable, and a lot of people, reviewing watches and talk about watches really are kind of like, I kind of compare it to like the taste level of like a wine connoisseur. The average person just wants to enjoy a glass of wine, say, I like it, and then drink it and feel a buzz, right? With like, and socialize, whatever, right? Be part of, maybe visiting a winery or whatever. But, with watches, you have those people who are like, they really break the watch down. And that doesn't mean that they're more refined. It doesn't mean that those folks have a better understanding than the average watch collector. It just means that those things are more important to them, right? And for me, it doesn't matter. Like I'm all about use and function and more of like, I think the passion side of collecting, because how does it make me feel when I'm wearing it? And I love it, right? I love the ability to try on a different watch, put on a red shirt. This is a basic red shirt, but I like to kind of accessorize and kind of match things up, right? And so everybody's different. You may not be like that. That's okay. But just to put out of your mind that you have to have Sapphire, that you have to have this specific automatic movement. It's just really not true. You can get great longevity, great life. This could last you a complete lifetime. It may not. Just like a Rolex may or may not. Of course, if you want to spend $600 a year or every 2 years getting it maintained by your jeweler, by all means, it's going to last you a lot longer. But I've never had any problems with my watches, and I can only speak on my experience. And my experiences with all these brands, whether $20 or $2,000, have all been good. They're all great watches. And remember, we're living in the modern age here. They're not producing things anymore like they were in the 80s. I always go back to like electronics. Oh, don't buy Chinese electronics. You need Japanese electronics are the only ones that are good. Don't buy buy Sony or all these different brands that maybe were Chinese, and folks would be like, oh, they're inferior. And that there might have been a little truth to that at one point, but China has, just evolved so much. The Chinese do not just make something and say, all right, we got it good enough. They're like, yeah, we made it good, and next year we're going to make it better, And I don't want to overgeneralize, say it's always the case, but that's kind of how it works. So again, to my point, beating the horse dead, rest assured, if you get one of these, you're going to be happy. Unless you are really a nitpicker and what I like to call the watch snob, and that doesn't necessarily mean that a person is a snob, but I feel like unless you are have a very refined taste, again, based on your own opinions and perceptions, then, maybe these specs aren't for you. But for most people who just enjoy collecting watches and enjoy wearing them, you'll love this brand. Nubeo is just knocking it out of the park with designs like this. And I believe this is their most recent design. So that's about it. That's all the information I have. As far as their little write-up about, their inspiration, of course, there is inspiration behind this watch with the Viking project. These are space-inspired watches, so there is something from space that they try to integrate into the watch. For me, I think it's just kind of like, and I've heard other YouTubers say it about Phoebos watches as well. The only thing really tying this to the Viking project is probably this sort of like, I don't know if it's like some sort of printed It looks like, I'm not sure if it's a satellite. Again, some of you folks will definitely correct me. But it looks like the Viking project has to do with reaching, I think it says here to maintain Martian surface, to reach the Martian surface. So I think it's landing on Mars. Maybe the Viking project had to do with a rover or some sort of space, I don't know, rover of some sort to land on Mars. I don't follow a lot of that stuff, so or any of that stuff, as you can tell. But that's the inspiration. And really, for me, the only thing tying this watch to that is this little doodle on the back, right? So I think it is kind of a stretch, but they have to come up with a name. And I like the fact that their watches are sort of leaning towards space inspirations. They do better on other watches. To me, this is just a standard watch. I don't really see that Viking project in the watch. It's so faint on the back. There's really no point in even mentioning it, really. But just call it a Viking and leave it at that, right? I think they could have done something a little better. I think that probably, maybe this section of the face here, kind of like this kind of like almost fence-like design off to the side, that might be something maybe found on, maybe that's meant to replicate a solar panel or whatnot on this particular machine. Not really sure, but, it's a great looking watch nonetheless. So let me show you the case real quick. Nubeo watches on straps generally come in one of these boxes. This one here, make sure you got the right one. They're all a little different. Sometimes they have a different, the graphics are a little different on the outside. When you open the box, pretty fun. If you were gifting this to somebody, definitely very bright, very cool. I love the orange and black. Of course, you have the black strap. They give you the tool to remove the bracelet, and of course, a spot for your watch. So definitely not like a display case or anything like that. But for me, I like when companies just kind of keep it. I don't know, unless you're really going to do something that's really over the top with the display, I don't see the point in putting a lot of money into the case, because ultimately what really matters is the watch and the product you're getting, and you're getting great quality and just a great look. I don't know anybody making anything quite like this. I think if you were wearing this, sometimes, if I'm wearing a watch, I'll look at people's wrists, of course, and if I saw this on somebody's wrist or something similar, I might say, oh, Richard Mille homage, could be a Richard Mille, but it's kind of its own thing. I haven't seen too many watches with this shape do a dual balance wheel. Oh, they might be out there, but it does kind of scream Nubeo, which is pretty cool. So without further ado, let's throw on the wrist, show you what it looks like on a guy my size, my height, my weight. I'm about 5'8". I weigh about 182 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. So this is what it looks like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. Just a fantastic looking piece. And just 46 by 51. I know a lot of folks, us Invicta collectors and guys who like the oversized pieces, might say, oh, it's a little small, but it's anything far. It's far from a small watch. It's definitely got a huge wrist presence, and it's definitely something that's going to get noticed if that's what you're going for. But very cool looking. Absolutely love this piece. They sent me about, I don't know, what we got, 6 watches last couple days. And this is one of the ones that I was really looking forward to getting. I'm not sure what it is about the red that really kind of draws me in, but, I'm always, I don't know, red. Just, it's only in watches, right? Anything else, I'm just like, nah, I'm not really a fan. But, I wouldn't get a red car, but when it comes to a watch, it's, I don't know, it's really cool. And I think no matter what, when we see a red watch, I think whenever we see the color red, maybe you're different, but I always kind of like gravitate towards like racing, like fast car. I guess maybe because of Ferrari, Ducati, but anyway, nonetheless. Little story time for you, right? Nonetheless, great piece. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm always here to help. By all means, drop me a comment, drop me an email. I will respond to every question regarding this wonderful stuff. I want to thank Nubeo again for the generosity and collaborating on an ongoing basis with Fat Cat Collections. I've almost reviewed every Nubeo available at this point, so I'm hoping they're coming out with new stuff. Keep the train rolling. And hopefully at some point I could have a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of discussion as far as the designs. And kind of, the way I think a lot of us and people who watch this channel, especially for the watches, I think a lot of times we're always looking for something different, something outside the box. And so that's kind of what I always think about when it comes to watches. What's on the market and what's not. And, you guys have ideas too. Let me know. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day and take care.